and he would spend the rest of his life in jail. His funeral business, named the Magaddino Memorial Chapel, was a huge source of legitimate revenue. This is a 31-year-old kid, and he doesn't feel ready to take the role on himself. And that's the son of Giuseppe DiCarlo, Joseph DiCarlo, and he really wanted this spot. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Dana Trupiana, and I cover infamous gangsters every week in a true crime-like format. Let's finish up the 𝐀𝐻𝐿 murder and move on with the rest of Stefano's story. New Jersey prosecutors decided not to pursue any charges in the 𝐃𝐚𝐧𝐚 murder against Magaddino or any of the gangsters that were named in the 𝐃𝐚𝐧𝐚 gang. All charges against Stefano Magaddino were dropped, despite the New York police officer's testimony that linked Stefano Magaddino and the rest of the 𝐃𝐚𝐧𝐚 gang to a string of cold cases that they were convinced they were able to solve by putting them on the 𝐃𝐚𝐧𝐚. And you want to know the craziest part about all of this? One person was charged and went to jail for the murder of Camillo 𝐃𝐻𝐿, and that was Bartolo Fontana. And that's because Bartolo Fontana is the only person that trusted the police. Fontana, terrified for his life, knowing that this gang was gonna come after him and kill him, ran to the police and told them everything. He worked together with them to get this whole gang arrested and gave them all the information that they could need to close this case as well as multiple other cold cases. But they detained Fontana and they tried Fontana. Fontana ended up being the only person that would go down for this murder, and he would spend the rest of his life in jail. Stefano Magaddino fled to upstate New York, where he was trying to send Bartolo Fontana. He would spend the rest of his life upstate, and he would end up building the Buffalo crime family into an empire. Gaspar Milazzo, another big leader in the 𝐃𝐚𝐧𝐚 gang, would end up going to Detroit, and Vito Bonventre ended up staying in New York. Bonventre would join the Nicolo Schiro gang and would become one of the first casualties of the Castellammarese War. Giuseppe DiCarlo was a gangster that was the leader of the Buffalo Mafia, and he had been since 1908. But he was sick. He died on July 11th, 1922. But if Giuseppe DiCarlo died of natural causes, that means that by the time that Magaddino ended up getting to Buffalo, it was probably clear that DiCarlo's health was rapidly declining. So this was a really good time for him to land there. Now, almost as soon as Magaddino got settled upstate, he started a pretty successful business. He started a funeral business in Niagara Falls, and that's how he ended up with the nickname of The Undertaker, Stefano "The Undertaker" Magaddino. His funeral business, named the Magaddino Memorial Chapel, was a huge source of legitimate revenue. Now, Magaddino actually ended up getting appointed as Giuseppe DiCarlo's successor after he actually died in the summer of 1922. It does become a little more difficult becoming the boss of the Buffalo family because there is one person that actually wants this spot, and that's the son of Giuseppe DiCarlo, Joseph DiCarlo, and he really wanted this spot. So while we're here, let's talk a little bit about Joseph DiCarlo, and we'll also talk a little bit about his father. Giuseppe DiCarlo, or Joseph DiCarlo Sr., became the boss of the Buffalo crime family when he literally formed the family. There's virtually no information out there. There is 2 books on the DiCarlo men. There's a DiCarlo family book, and there's 2 of them. There's one that is like the beginning, and one is like, 1938 and on. And I did a video on Joseph DiCarlo a while back, but he's probably one of the least researched and talked about mafia figures out there. Like, there's really not a lot on him. Obviously, that's a huge mark of a successful mafioso. If everybody knows your business and everybody knows the dirt that you do, especially when it comes to the criminal acts that you did, then so does the government. And that probably means that you're gonna spend most of your life either in jail or in court trying to stay out of jail. As I said, there was 2 books that were written in his name. It's called DiCarlo, Buffalo's First Family of Crime. And there's 2 of them, as I said. One of them is like the very beginning to 1938, I believe, and then the second one is like 1938 onward. So back to Joseph DiCarlo Jr., who was a huge, major player in the Buffalo family, and he would end up getting arrested a shit ton of times. He caught 3 prison terms from 6 criminal charges spanning from 1938 to 1945. He caught a charge in 1938 for running cigarette vending machines. And it was that arrogance that got him again. Apparently, he got on the phone with the owner of another cigarette vending machine, and that owner had his cigarette vending machine moved. And when that guy fought back, DeCarlo pretty much told him, like, I'll beat your ass or I'll kill you. And if your friends snitch, I'll beat their asses and kill them too. Now, the following year, after he was appointed as the successor to Giuseppe DeCarlo, he brought his brother Antonio from Castellammarese del Golfo, and he brought him to Buffalo to run the family alongside him. Now, the fact that he was young was a huge reason. I mean, you got to imagine it has to be part of the reason why Magaddino really wanted no part of taking the role as boss of the family. Like, they appointed it to him, but he did not want it. He was scared. Like, a 31-year-old kid? Like, yeah, okay, as I said, he's a lot more suited to this role than any other 31-year-old out there. He was born into the life, he was taught it from a young age, we get that. But even so, this is a 31-year-old kid, and he doesn't feel ready to take the role on himself. Now, as Magaddino established this base for the Mafia in Buffalo and kind of cemented it and moved into Western New York and moved into Niagara Falls, Antonio rose to the position of a trusted advisor. So, I mean, obviously, if you're in the Mafia and your brother is running it, you're probably going to get a higher position than Joe Schmo down the street. Now, under DeCarlo, the Castellammarese mafiosi Angelo Palmieri and Filippo Mazzara would oversee the operations because Magaddino was not one that was scared to outsource responsibility. He was perfectly fine delegating. As I said, he didn't want this position as boss of the family. So he was very, very, very good with delegating. Okay, cool, you're gonna force me to take this responsibility on. I'm gonna delegate responsibility as much as I can. Thank God he had people like his brother Antonio and guys like Angelo Palmieri and Filippo Mazzaro that would be there and be able to take some of that responsibility on and make life easier for Magaddino. Only 2 years after he got to Buffalo in 1924, Magaddino had become a naturalized US citizen. Now, Magaddino, he settled in Buffalo as the region kind of like searched for a successor because they said to Magaddino, okay, you're going to take this role on because we really just don't have anybody better to do it. But Magaddino was fighting it tooth and nail. I don't want to be the boss. So they pretty much said like, okay, take the role, lead the family, we'll figure someone else out in the meantime, but you need to take this role because we need an acting boss. So he was kind of looking at it like, this isn't a permanent position, fine, I'll take it, I'll make sure that the family runs smoothly, but you need to find someone else to do it because I don't want to do it. Honestly, Magaddino, he wanted to be like underboss, consigliere, something like that. He didn't feel ready to take on the role of boss of the family. He knew how important and significant that role was, and he didn't want to take it on. He had already had a taste of leadership in the Good Killers gang. And honestly, he looked at it like, I could do without it. I don't need extreme power. I don't need all the money that comes with being the boss. Like, I don't need all of that. And he especially did not need the headache that came along with the title of being boss. He just didn't need or want it. It's said that he took on the title at this point, that he took on the title of boss of the family, he took control of the family, but I really think that he just took that title on to appease the older guys and get a little more power behind his name, but he is not acting like a mafia boss at this time. He's not acting crazy, he's not doing anything bad, he's just delegating a lot because he doesn't want all this responsibility. Now, Magaddino's relationship with Joseph DeCarlo Jr., the son of Giuseppe DeCarlo, it's civil, but it's strained. It's, you know, you could feel the tension in the air, but there's no beef. There's no words exchanged, but they don't like each other. Okay, so I feel like we got a little more substance in this one. I'm gonna end this video now, but at least I feel like we got a little more information in here than we got in part 2. I wasn't exactly proud of part 2. I wasn't really able to jam that much information into that one, but we got some more into this one and I feel better about it. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and please don't forget to tune in next week for part 4 of Stefano Magaddino. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, follow, do all the things, and I'll see you next week. Bye!